Welcome to Moments with Marianne. This is your host, Marianne Pastana. We're here today with special guest, John Blossom, who's here to share with us his Nautilus Award-winning book, Mahina Rises. So can the spirit of Aloha hold the key to overcoming fear, loss, and even climate change? Well, today's guest is here to share with us just that. John Blossom is an award-winning author and lifelong educator whose work explores the spiritual and environmental challenges of modern culture. With over 25 years of teaching experience in independent schools across the U.S. and Hawaii, John brings a deep understanding of human development and cultural storytelling in his books, which span a variety of genres. He holds a BA in English, Magna Cum Laude, from Carleton College, a BFA in Ceramics, highest honors from Sierra Nevada College, and an MAT, honors in writing, from Colorado College. Currently living on the island of Hawaii, John continues to write novels that blend magical realism, ancestral wisdom, and ecological themes as seen in his Nautilus Award-winning novel, Mahina Rises. So welcome to the show, John Blossom.
Well, thank you, Marianne. It's so cool to be here with you.
Well, what an honor it is to have you here and to talk about your award-winning book. I mean, congratulations. What a huge accomplishment that is.
Oh, it's nice of you to say. Books kind of come through you, so I guess you could say it's an accomplishment, but I kind of feel like I was a conduit more than the actual creator. But yes, no, it's a privilege to know that it was so well received and that it's made an impact on the world. Thank you.
Well, I know so many people are just loving Mahina Rises. What inspired you to write that book?
It's the kids. I spent 30 years in schools as a middle school English teacher and art teacher, and I just love middle school students so much. They're in such a great stage of their life. They're so creative, they're so insecure, they're so experimenting with their passions and their interests. And I really wanted to write books that I wish I could have taught in my classes. And that's what's motivated me in my retirement.
Well, we're so glad that you're writing books. And can you share a little bit about Mahina Rises with us?
Well, specifically, the inspiration came from a dream that I've had off and on all my life. And if I if I revealed what exactly the dream is, it would be a spoiler for the book. So I'm not going to do that. But I will say that this particular dream starts off with a lot of effort. I'm working really hard on something, and then I accomplish it, and there's a sense of belonging and a sense of love for the earth and a sense of connection with everything and a sense of fulfillment. And then always toward the end of the dreams, I'm afraid, oh, don't let doubts come in, don't let fears come in. And then as soon as I say, don't let it come in, they do, and that's the end of the dream. So that's kind of the overall pattern. And then I want to write books that kids are truly interested in, the issues that mean a lot to them right now. So Mahina Rises is focused a lot on caring for the environment and the worry that kids have about climate change and other things, whether and what they can possibly do about it. And so I decided, what can what kind of middle school girl, 13 years old, what could she possibly do to have an impact on the world in that regard? And the dream came into my head is to just use that dream, because the sense of fulfillment could be a learning tool for her, but also a teaching tool for her to have an impact on the world, and particularly on the adults who are in positions of power. So that's kind of where it came from. There's a spiritual connection to the land that's involved in the stream. And in particular, the inspiration of being here on the Big Island, well, I shouldn't say the island of Hawaii, more proper way to pronounce that. Um, and and particularly because even though I grew up in Wisconsin, even though I played in a ravine in Wisconsin, had really amazing connections with nature and walking down to Lake Michigan and unsupervised back in those days. And even though I spent a lot of time in Colorado climbing mountains in California and almost getting killed in a number of incidences, I the true connection with nature really didn't happen to me until I came to the island of Hawaii. And that's because I think it's such a quintessential area of nature creativity, with the volcano going off, creating new lands, and the earthquakes, and you're always involved in the changes and the magnificence and the beauty of the land and the reverence that you have for it. And I really wanted to encapsulate that feeling for readers who had never come to Hawaii, for maybe readers who don't share my feeling that middle schoolers are infinitely capable of magnificent things. And that's really where the genesis of that book came from.
Now, did having this setting in Hawaii really shape the narrative? I know you've kind of touched on that a little bit.
Oh my gosh, yes, because Hawaii is such a fascinating place. If you come and you visit the Hawaii National Volcanoes National Park, you'll go through this lava tube. It's called the Thurston Lava Tube, and then you get underneath, and these lava tubes are formed in a specific way as the lava flows and it cools around it, and it forms this kind of tubular structure that crisscrosses throughout the whole island. You never know where you might run across one or where one might be underneath the ground. And I really admired the writing of Haruki Murakami, and he always has his characters go down deep into wells, because there they have to confront their own inner psyche and their own mysticism and the connection with their with other people and with the land. So I decided I'm going to use these lava tubes for the same reason. And then it kind of evolved into a sense of that these tubes could be almost womb-like in the sense that, when Pele, the goddess of fire, creates the land, she's erupting from deep within the earth, and that's kind of and giving birth to a new child. It's like a new land. And I think that I wanted my character to experience that spiritually, as a connection with the earth, but also knowing the specific organic nature of Mother Nature and the birth that she can give. So there's a lot of adventures that happen in lava tubes. And again, I don't want to give away the book, because I think it's an exciting one to read and discover on your own. Like everybody has a Pele within themselves. So when you get hot on an idea, that fire is within you, and then you get motivated in life, and life gives you meaning. And this is kind of what I wanted. This is exactly what I wanted to convey in the book. So when people read the book, they hopefully will be inspired by the character of Mahina and her relationship with her elders, and her relationship with her boyfriend, and her relationship with the land.
You have a powerful line in your book, and it's about making the extraordinary ordinary. What does that mean to you?
Yeah. So I think a lot of times in life, especially when you get on social media and you see everybody posting wonderful things they've done, these vacations they've gone to, or this incredible experience they have, and you want to chase these experiences because you feel like maybe your life isn't as adequate. Um, and then and what I realize is that almost all those experiences that you have, once you have them, you kind of get used to them, and then they don't have the same kind of power again. I mean, maybe you like them, but it's not the same, investment, like, oh, my life will completely change if I have this one experience. And so oftentimes I think in our world today, we're chasing after these experiences at the expense of the resources of the world and the animals of the world, the plants, nature. Um, so we're chasing after maybe materialistic things that we don't really need. And so part of the idea is that through experiencing something that's truly extraordinary, it's like almost spiritual. And you've had many guests on your show who talk about how they have these experiences of spirituality, and it changes their priorities in life, and they back away from materialism, they back away, and they learn a better way to fulfill their life. Well, my feeling is that when you have something so extraordinary, then when that becomes ordinary, everything that's ordinary then has a chance to be extraordinary. So people who have these spiritual awakenings, they have connection with nature or with God or with whatever happens to be the form. All of a sudden, something as simple as having a cup of tea becomes an enormous world of fulfillment. Um, And that's kind of what I'm going after, that if we all had that attitude, if we all had a reverence for life, we all had a reverence for nature and um, the biology of breathing and the ability to think and all those wonderful gifts that we get by being human beings, that we wouldn't need to exploit and create all these gadgets and unnecessary consumptive things to find our fulfillment.
In your book, you share about the Aloha spirit. Can you share a little bit about what that is?
Oh, sure. Well, many people know that aloha means hello, but it also means love. It comes from the Hawaiian word ha, which is the word of breath. And the ancient Hawaiians, when they met each other in their village or wherever they would put their foreheads together and share their breath. So it's the love of my breath, the beauty and my reverence for being alive, mingling with your breath in love. And that's one reason why aloha means both hello and goodbye, and also love. So I feel that the reverence that Native Hawaiian indigenous people feel for the love is expressed in your own being, your own breath, is a beautiful and simple way of connecting with something that can give your life meaning.
What do you hope readers and our listeners take away from Mahina Rises?
First and foremost, I hope that young people who read this book get inspired by the character of Mahina. She overcomes many challenges to find a meaningful existence in life, and so that's one. I think I hope that it provides hope and energy for people to recognize that they're very special just because they're human, and that if they have a reverence for that specialness and they have the aloha spirit, they can make a positive difference in the world.
Such a great read. I just love this book. Now, I know you've written many other books that are also award winning. The Last Football Player. Can you share that with us?
Ah, yeah, that's a fun book. So I grew up in Wisconsin, so I was a Green Bay Packer fan. I saw Bart Starr play when I was a little kid, and it had a big impact on me. And I love the game of football. But every time I see a player who gets seriously injured, I wonder, "Oh, why are we doing this? I mean, this is such a dangerous game, and do they really have a choice when you dangle $5 million in front of somebody? They say they have a choice, but do they really?" And so I'm always torn because I truly believe it's the greatest game ever created, because so many people's creative inputs are important for each play, and the complexity is like off the charts, and yet there's a part of me that honestly feels like for the good of the players, it should be banned. So I said, okay, I'm going to be conflicted about this the rest of my life. I'm going to watch football. I know I'm going to watch football, and I'm always going to feel this way. So maybe that's a good theme for middle schoolers to think about. In particular, what's happening with football? When you watch football, you see the players are all bundled up now in more gear than they've ever had. They have iPads, they have very special radios in their helmets, and they have knees that look mechanical and robotic. So we're slowly moving more and more toward a mechanized AI world of sports, in particular football. And I said, okay, well, what about if I wrote a book about a young boy, Silicon Valley, 13 years old, 2040, near future. Father's very influential. He's too afraid to tell his son he shouldn't play football because he's afraid of him being injured. And so instead, he just bans football. He starts a movement and uses influence, and football is banned. No more football. It's too dangerous. And of course, this completely destroys any popularity that his son had in his school because, he destroyed the game that everybody wanted to play. He ends up in a tech lab run by the school. It's a school that's run by one of the tech giants of Silicon Valley. And I'll leave it up to your readers to figure out what the analogy is of which giant it might be. But so he ends up at this tech lab and he meets other teenagers whom he normally wouldn't spend any time with. A geeky, robotic genius, a 13-year-old girl who organizes the whole lab because a student run. And then he discovers she can throw the football left-handed or right-handed, and it's pretty cool. Strong female characters in the book. And they decide together to build a robotic football team to get around the ban. And everyday robots running around in the house are not quite creative enough to play football. And so it becomes this challenge of how to train the football robots or infuse them with enough creativity that they can play football exactly the way a human being would play, and exactly the way the star football player would play. And so it's a deep dive into what is the essence of football. Can it be reproduced through technology? It brings up a lot of issues, I think, that we're facing in our day today. Like, how are we going to deal with these robots? How creative can they actually be? What's their AI? What's AI going to be like in our future? How dependent are we on them? And can they ever truly be human if they don't have a human body? And so it's just a quick, easy read, fun, lots of, exciting football scenes, and you really feel for the protagonist and his relationship with his father.
Well, I understand that book has won multiple awards as well.
It was a finalist for 2 Sports Book of the Year awards, and then I just kept entering it in contests, and it kept winning prizes. Not always first place, but yeah. So I was kind of amazed, and hey, it was just a fun book to read. I had no idea it would be so well received, but I'm really happy about it, and I think it brings up some real issues, especially for the middle grade, young adult crowd who are grappling with the influence of AI in their lives and in schools. And yeah, and so again, all my books have protagonists, teenage protagonists who accomplish great things in the face of extreme odds and challenges. And this one is no different. It's a very inspirational read. And I've had many parents call me and say, "Thank you for this book. My son won't play video games until he's done reading the book." And I say, "Yes, I have fulfilled my role as a writer of young adult novels."
Well, that says a lot right there. So, oh my goodness. Well, I'd like to pivot to your most recent book, To Be. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, no, that one's not a middle grade book. It's a high school book. It's based on 3 true stories. uh, which I combined into one dramatic story that's centered around Hamlet. So one of the true stories and the main one is of a friend of mine's brother who was an extremely talented actor in Connecticut in the 60s and early 70s. But he had a I don't want to spoil, I'm not going to spoil the book. And so if I told you exactly what his medical condition was, it would kind of spoil it. But suffice it to say that the medical condition prevented him from achieving the body of an adult. And so he um, he becomes a very well-respected actor. He played a Mal in A Mal and the Night Visitors because that's, a young boy. And that's the end of the true story. And then I took it another step further and combined it with the true story of Mark Waters' first experience on the stage. I was an actor in high school in Milwaukee, and I was the lead man for a number of plays, and in which Mark Waters was an extra. And I didn't think anything of it until I went off to college and I came back, and somebody said, "Hey, Mark Waters, he was really inspired by your acting, and he's acting. Did you know he's doing Hamlet?" And as a senior in high school, I was like, "Hamlet, wow, that's amazing." We ended up doing Hamlet and receiving incredible accolades for that. Went to London to study drama, and then eventually became the director of the Globe Theater. And most people know him now as Mark Rylance. And when I went to visit him one time after a show, he came out afterwards. "Oh, John, oh, it's so nice to see you. You were my first leading man." And I said, "Oh, wow, that's pretty cool to have inspired arguably the greatest actor on the planet right now." But anyway, so this boy in To Be, he has this handicap, and he really wants to play Hamlet, and it's about his overcoming those challenges to do so. And much of the what happens in the book is based on experiences I had as an actor, as a high school actor. It has some serious themes in it about identity. It's like Hamlet, so there's a tragic element to it, but also an uplifting element, as all Shakespeare tragedies have. So it's a compelling story, especially for kids who love theater. I mean, if you love theater, you'll really relate to this novel.
Well, John, you're such an inspiration. Your books are hands down such great reads. Where can our listeners connect with you and be part of your community and learn more about your work?
Oh, well, thank you. The easiest way, of course, is to go to my website, jtblossom.com. And there you can find links to all of my books, the ones we mentioned on the show and others. And I look forward to, you can leave your address. I answer every email. And I love to Zoom with kids in reading groups or with adults in reading groups.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Aloha.
Well, thank you, John. It's been such an honor to spend this time with you and to talk about your books and, of course, your Nautilus Award-winning book, Mahina Rises. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You've been listening to Moments with Mary Ann, where we make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Mary Ann is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary. A recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.